Basic Appraisal Procedures, page 9. Location. Properties can be specific or general in use. Sometimes the property design determines its use. In other matters, zoning and deed restrictions play a key role, as these relate directly to the property's location characteristics. A single-family home, limited by regulation to a single residential use, is specific in use. But when regulations allow for, say, residential or commercial use, the diligence imposed on the appraiser becomes greater and the residential property's use could become general. Another example is a retail building in a mixed retail/office location. Another relevant property characteristic inherent to location relates to economic considerations. One example is a property that lacks demand due to a depressed economy. Consider a developable parcel of land situated between two recently completed residential subdivisions. Most of the new home residents in the adjoining subdivisions work at a local primary industry or one of the secondary employers whose business depends on the primary industry. The parcel has great utility to accommodate future residential development, and considering conformity, this use seems most logical. However, the primary industry has eliminated one entire shift in the factory and laid off one half of its workforce. Economically, the physical characteristics of the land parcel are challenged, especially if regulations limit its use to residential development. Another circumstance related to economics and physical characteristics is supply and demand. The physical characteristics of the property limit the use, and the market segment for that use is out of balance, with a far greater supply of that particular property type in relation to demand. When these situations are recognized in problem identification or at some time later in the development process, they indicate the research and analysis steps necessary to address them. Interest to be appraised. In most cases, an appraisal is performed for an opinion of value for the fee simple interest, or entire physical property, including the bundle of rights. However, a partial interest, including a lease or life estate, fractional interest, or even a physical segment of the property, is frequently the subject of an appraisal. Additionally, the appraiser must identify any personal property being considered in the assignment. For many residential appraisers, when a partial interest, a portion of a property, or just one co-owner's interest is being appraised, the appraisal would be defined as complex. In these cases, special methodology is usually required to conclude on important points. The appraiser must identify the property characteristics relevant to the type and definition of value and intended use of the appraisal. Any combination of property inspection and/or documents such as a legal description, photographs, plans and specifications, etc., may be used to identify the relevant property characteristics. Identification of the relevant property characteristics is the sole responsibility of the appraiser. Extra notes. Next to the section called location, the number 2 was right there. Under the word diligence, to an arrow, it says something, everything, something with work. I can't read it because the book is freaking stuck right there. Hypothetical assumptions. Thinking E, B, D, I. Elephant Butte water right, which will be gone. Next to interest to be appraised is the number 3.